I was self-sabotaging myself by not allowing myself to give myself to heal, and just taking on tasks after task, piling them up so I could just forget what had happened. When we are so um, engulfed in our pain, in our hurt, um, in the present trauma that we are experiencing, what we do is we actually get on to this cruise ship, and I call this ship the trauma cruise, right? Because it's going to one destination. It's going to the aftermath of trauma. And this cruise could be days, weeks, years. Sometimes it could probably get lost in the sea, right? And in addition to the trauma that is already within the cruise ship, then you'll be met with the storm, in the middle of the ocean, and entering the shark infested water. So now you're like on top of another experience, um, which is not only dangerous but also um, very life threatening. So that's to me, that's how trauma leads us. And if we keep sailing away into, I guess, the unknown, wherever this cruise ship is taking you, this trauma cruise ship, um, that's exactly where you're gonna go. But you don't have the map, you don't have the compass. You're just there. And however, my guest today, I asked her this question, like how what did you discover after you uh healed yourself, after you are able to find your own methods of healing from the miscarriages. And she said, I just kept asking myself why. I'm sorry, I kept asking myself, who am I? Because just like her, um, we shared the same story of being disconnected from ourselves. When the miscarriages happened to me as well, I I lost a sense of self. I lost my sense of self. And she did too. She lost herself. She got disconnected from who she was. She started people pleasing. She started you know, faking the smiles, showing that she's strong. And that's exactly what I went through as well. As we were in the conversation, it reminded me like, oh my goodness, that's how I did as well. I was um couldn't say no. I couldn't uh excuse myself about needing time for myself to cry, or to needing myself uh to just to allow myself to feel, like just time for myself, time for my mental health, time for myself to get back on my feet. But what I did was, I instead of asking for, like a time off from work, I just continued pushing through. I continued just taking on the tasks because I was trying to numb down. I didn't want to feel. And I just put on my leader hat, and I just put on the fake smile and put on the fake bravery, and just push through the whole day, and then wake up the next day, do the same thing. So I was self-sabotaging myself by not allowing myself to give myself to heal, and just taking on tasks after task, piling them up so I could just forget what had happened. And so when she asked herself, who am I? I believe that's the most important question that we should ask ourselves, because we get disconnected from who we are when trauma comes in, and or any situation that is painful, you know, any life triggering events, um that kind of like questions um your belief system, that questions who you are as a person, you know. um in spirituality, in my line of work, we call it soul fragmentation. Part of our soul gets fragmented when uh, a person enters a traumatic event. In my work as a spiritual hypnotherapist, I help retrieve the soul. And my work as an energy healer, I help bring balance back into the body and the soul of the individual. So, uh, going back to my topic, when she answered her own question, like, who am I? You know, why am I doing that? Why am I doing other people's um, favors? Like, why am I not, you know, honoring what I want? Why I'm not honoring um, my boundaries? You know, why can't I say no for uh, from them, so I could, you know, have some time for me, or at least, um, you know, do myself my own favor, right? So as she asked that question, she keeps getting closer and closer to knowing who she is. And who she is this, you know, beautiful, amazing woman who, uh, not just a mother, you know, that's just her identity, but what she learned is that she is this um, beautiful person that has so much to give and so much um, to feel and experience, and to acknowledge. So so for her, the more that she asks about who she was, the more that she returns back to herself. And just like my scenario with this, the trauma cruise ship, it's like you taking the captain's role now. You take the wheel and turn the ship around as you continue to ask yourself, who am I? You know, what do I want? What do I desire? That's when you take your power back to return the cruise ship back to the port, because the port is where you left yourself, you know, the fragmented self. And now you're being reunited to that you. So healing is like that. You know, healing is is about facing the the person and rediscovering the person, that who you were and who you are and who you are to become. So those are the foundations of healing. it's it's being brave enough to know who you truly are. And when you do know who you are, you're able to take the role of the captain of that ship. So the trauma cruise ship is not going anywhere, you know. As we all know, it can be, you know, retired and no longer work, you know. Maybe it can go in the, I guess, as a display, you know, at the port, you know, to become a museum, and you can look at it and only see it as a fragment of your memory, you know, like, hey, I used to go on that cruise ship, and but now I can look at it, and you know, I can probably revisit it, but it's not going to affect you anymore, because you're back to who you were, and you are now standing as this new person, acknowledging your past, welcoming the future, and then just creating something new right now. So And that's what it means to heal, combining all those aspects. So I am here live to share that insight that I gained from the podcasts, from yesterday and today. And oh my god, there's so much more. um there were so many amazing women that I have spoken to, in this new launch of my podcast, the WOMBen Collective Podcast. And the reason why I chose WOMBen Collective, the spelling is WOMBen. And the reason why I chose that is because I would love to be a collective of the wisdom of every woman, and the wisdom from their experiences. And the womb itself has its own wisdom too. So we are sharing as a collective the story from our wombs, the story of the pregnancies, the pregnancy losses, infertility, stories of stillbirth, miscarriages, anything that is related to the womb of a woman. And as a collective, we are sharing that same experiences, sharing our insights from those shared womb experiences. So that's the reason why I named it the WOMBen Collective, for that reason. And I just want to say that this podcast, it came out of nowhere. I I've been working on my practice for over a year now, transitioning. I won't say transitioning, but I'm adding coaching inside my practice, inside my hypnosis practice. So I would love to help coach women about their spiritual awakening after miscarriages or after experiencing infertility, anything related to womb situation. And so that's kind of like where I was headed to. And I gave birth to uh, uh, a program just dedicated for those that have experienced pregnancy loss, infertility, infant loss. Originally, my goal was last year, my goal was to only work with women who had no living children. But as I've continued to develop my coaching program, it's opening the way for all women who have experienced loss uh, of pregnancy or loss of their dreams of motherhood because of infertility, loss of a baby, sort of things. So that's kind of like where I'm heading to, you know, now. And that's how WOMBen Collective Podcast was birthed. And like I said, I wasn't really planning to do a podcast. I was more uh, focused on developing my coaching program for pregnancy loss, healing, and coaching women uh, return back to themselves and guide them on their spiritual awakening. Because the more that we ask our questions about who am I, why I'm here, it always triggers um, some sort of spiritual awakening. And I know because I have been there. Uh, I have asked the same questions. I was searching for myself when I went through no miscarriages. I was searching for myself. Um, and the time that I asked that, that's when the the deep connection to God came. I became more connected to God in a very spiritual way. I was more connected to the presence of angels, my guardian angels. They're always helping me, my spirit guides. And lately, um, I've been more connected to my angel babies too, or spirit babies. They can be called either or. And if you'd love to learn more, I'm doing a class about connecting with your angel babies, how to learn how to connect with your angel babies, happening on September 22nd. So I'll post more about that in the coming weeks or days. Anyway, so that's kind of like how I started um, this project. And podcast wasn't really a part of it, but somehow I felt guided. I felt prompted to do it. And to believe it or not, today is August 15, right? I started the podcast, the idea, on July, I think it's the July 22nd, maybe. Yeah, I feel that it was July 22nd. I think I asked the question. So if I look at the calendar, I asked the question to invite guests on my podcast on July 19. Yep, I remember that it was a Friday, July 19. And July 22nd was when I responded to all the uh, guest requests, and then I started recording. So uh, it had a beautiful turnout, and I can't wait to my phone is ringing. So I guess that's saying time out now. All right, so that's basically how it all started. Yeah, that my project birth was birthed on July 22nd. That's when I started coordinating, and I had to create my website for that. And in less than 3 days, I think it was up and running, and people are able to sign up immediately. And that's what I'm saying. When the universe tells you something and wants you to create something, you better listen, because the universe will start planning for you. I didn't plan any of this. I just kind of like sat here and said, okay, I just receive. And the moment I did that, that's when everything just come into fruition. Um, so September 1st is the launch of the WOMBen Collective Podcast, and it started July 22nd. Well, I would say July 19 when I initiated that. And then July 22nd when I started receiving, and doing conducted a lot of interviews since then. Right. And this is also um in conjunction with my other podcast, the Women of Powerlifting podcast. And I had 3 guests there, and it's already launched starting this month. The 8th of August was the first one. So I had amazing interviews with women there as well. So I feel that the direction of where my work is going is bringing in a lot of women who are so empowered and so brave to tell their stories, um, because I think we need role models to help other women who have gone through the same experience, and women who are currently in the experience, to just find that strength to stand up, and find that strength to get on the captain seat of that cruise ship trauma, and turn that ship around so they can reunite back to themselves. So that's the whole purpose of my podcasts. And as far as my work, I as a hypnotherapist and energy healer, I I just help bring balance back into themselves. I help bring balance back into their energy field, in their body, in their mindset, in their whatever that they are hoping, overall. So, and in addition to that, my work is highly and deeply spiritual, to where I help mothers and their their baby that have passed due to miscarriages, or just early infant loss, um, or just failing to conceive at conception, due to infertility. I help the mothers connect with their spirit baby in the afterlife. So that's part of my work, and I feel that my spirit babies or angel babies are here helping me do this work, and I really know I'm not alone in this line of work, because uh, I feel like it's a partnership. It's their way also to serve humanity. So they're helping mothers and parents, even the father figures. They're helping the male, the fathers, also cope with their grief, from the experience of miscarriages or pregnancy loss, infant loss, or even experiencing infertility in the in the family. So um but yes, so thank you for listening impromptu. So and I appreciate your time, and I just needed um to let it all out. And so if I come here like um unannounced, it's because I'm just being kind of like nagged to, hey, you need to speak about it. So I'm here, and um, I've healed so much to where I'm able to speak now, unlike before, where I was scared to even get in front of the video, um, speak on the mic, um, and especially here on Facebook, with friends and family are here. Uh, uh, Before, I was afraid of being judged or being criticized, but now I'm more focused on who needs to hear this, and because that's the mission. Someone is listening, and that someone um, could be you. I don't know. So I'm just here as a servant. I'm just here to send the message and send healing love to everyone that needs it. Or, if you're on the path, then yes, receive it with all your heart. So, but anyway, thank you for giving me this space. And I'll see you all on the next live when I'm called again to do it. So thanks. Bye bye.